We got guests in the building, though. Founder of NA2 Athletics, head coach of the Knox Varsity Basketball team. Welcome to the show, my man, Navro Allen. How you doing, man?
Yo, doing great. Thanks for having me.
Of course, man, of course. You know, I don't know if you remember my face, but I was one of the commentators of the tournament that was played at was in the Bronx. Yeah, your school was there. It had some good players there, man. I saw you. So
I remember
shouts
last
to you.
year.
Yeah.
We got blitzed pretty bad.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of you guys played a good team, man. So you know, but it was
we played Brooklyn Collegiate, if I'm not mistaken, and we were just outmatched.
Yeah.
I don't lie about nothing. Like,
nah, it happens.
It was bad coaching that day because like we just got back from 3 weeks of being off. My school takes off. Their boarding school, so we take off for 3 weeks.
Yeah,
and it was rough. But happy to be here. Happy to be out here.
Nah, of course, man. Glad to have you. Welcome to the All Even podcast. So we have a lot to discuss before we actually get into the sports. We're gonna get into Navro Allen's story, so I'd like to talk about that. But once we do get into the sports, Thursday night football. We want to talk about that boring ass game that just happened. It was terrible. Just terrible between the Bears and the Panthers, right? It's bad. George Pickens, not happy. And I side with him. I do agree with him. Jets watch. Talk about the Jets. Josh Dobbs, he said that he was blindsided by getting traded to the Vikings. Blindsided because he never thought it would happen because of what he was told. So I'd like to talk about that a little bit. Kyler Murray is back. How do we feel about Kyler Murray being back? The Los Angeles Lakers. I have a lot to say. John Wall wants to come back. I want to talk about that and see where that may make sense, if it even makes sense. I think that's kind of it for basketball. We can talk about the in-season tournament a little bit. I talked about it last week, but I want Mr. Allen's take on what the in-season tournament means and how it feels to him. Cole, you had a question?
Not a question. Me and LeBron just hurt his knee.
Yeah, I know.
What?
He banged knees with Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that he's out, but I mean, when it rains and pours in LA.
Looking real 38-year-oldish right there.
It is what it is. In baseball news, Mets have a new head manager. Craig Counsell signs the biggest deal in Major League history for being a manager. Yes.
I just have one question.
Yes.
Does this mean we're going to go to some games?
Yeah.
Okay.
Possibly.
Yeah, possibly.
Possibly.
How much money did he get?
He got about, what was it, $40 million or something like that over 5 years?
Lord have mercy.
So that's a lot.
10 million.
That's why they're building the park.
My irrelevant news of the week. And then the greatest segment on the planet, Dummy of the Week.
Dummy, yeah.
So before we get into all that, I'd like to pan to my guests. Like I said, welcome to the show. I'd like to start from the beginning.
All right.
Where were you born?
Deer Park. Well, West Islip to be exact.
Okay.
Good Sam Hospital.
Deer
But
Park.
I'm a Deer Park kid.
Deer Park kid. And growing up, obviously, you played basketball.
Absolutely.
Position?
In high school, I played the two. I was mostly a shooter. And then when I went to college, they transformed my whole game from being a scorer, shooter, into a point guard.
Interesting. How do you feel about that?
I think it was a blessing. At times, I thought it was a curse. It was the worst year of my life. But it became a blessing because, now being a coach, you understand the game from every aspect of it. And you understand every nuance of the game playing as a point. When you play as a two, you may not understand everything, how the flow goes, pace, tempo, who needs a shot, everything.
Right.
It's different.
Yeah, I mean, because, the thing is, with being a point guard, you're the coach on the floor, right? You're an extension of your coach. So you have to make sure that everybody's in the right spots. Everybody knows what's going on, what the plays are. You know, you have to be able to get to people's spots and make them comfortable and be that leader. So, you know, going from a position where you're literally in attack mode to somebody who has to now facilitate for everybody and keep everything together, it's definitely a culture shock from
Oh,
position to position, right?
yeah. And at the time, I couldn't even dribble the basketball.
Right.
Like, I was terrible at dribbling. Like, I don't sugarcoat anything. I was terrible at
So you were
dribbling.
just a shooter.
Literally, I was Reggie Miller on the court. I would run off screens all day long, shoot jump shots, play defense. Like, I was the original 3D guy. Like, you
Yeah.
would play defense all day, run, shoot jump shots. And then to transition into, I'm going to be a facilitator and create shots for other people and learn how to get into the lane. And then as a point guard, you got to learn everybody's personality too.
Absolutely.
You got to know who wants the ball, who needs the ball,
when and where.
when and where to give them the ball,
Right.
how to give them the ball, what plays to run, who has a mismatch, how to get this person a mismatch. So it was very complicated. And like I said, it was the best and the worst year of my life was my freshman year in college.
Interesting. So after your playing days are over,
Yeah.
where did the direction turn in regards to you wanting to like be a trainer and stuff like that? Like, how did that end up happening?
I always wanted to be a coach. Like, I used to tell my college coach. It was funny. Like, one of my kids was asking me this question when I was driving him to practice today. Was Dell? He was asking me this question. Like, when did you want to start coaching? When did you know you wanted to coach? I told my college coach, I was like, I'm going to take his job. Coach Long, I said, I'm going to take your job. I was like, I want to be a coach.
So you realized it back then?
I realized that I liked coaching. I liked helping people. I always did. And I would come back home, and as my summer job, I would work for the local CYO program or PAL program in Deer Park and coach all those kids. But at the time, I wasn't really coaching. Like, I was just playing with them in practice. Like,
Right.
I had a bunch of kids that were good, and all I would do is I was 18, and I'm playing with them, and they're 11.
Right.
And just getting them better. And me and my friends would just go play against them.
Right.
But it really wasn't coaching.
Yeah. It was
You
just
know.
more of kind of like shadowing or
yeah. It was them playing against grown men,
Right.
basically.
Right.
A 12-year-old playing against a 18, 19-year-old, it's different.
Right.
And then that 12-year-old learns how to compete at a higher level. It's like, oh.
Which in some ways is really good coaching, because that's a way a lot of kids learn, right? To be able to play against stiffer competition, but older guys, to understand what that physicality is and be able to now take that back to their age group and really understand, okay, this is how I need to dominate. This is how I need to be able to play.
It's funny because kids don't do that anymore.
No, they don't.
They don't do any of that anymore. Like, I grew up in the era where we played in the park.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You know, we played at Oswego. We played in the park. We played with. I grew up when Upper Room had the church had a gym, but it was carpet floors.
Right.
At Upper Room, and we would go play with grown men.
Right.
Me, my best friend Donnell, we would go play with grown men all the time. And God bless the dead. Troy Jackson used to bring me Escalade, used to bring me to the park, play with his brother Mark
That's
Jackson and all that stuff. So I was always blessed to be around great basketball players and play at a high level where you're gonna compete. And Sundays used to be like, we're gonna be at the park, and you'd be at the park all day.
Right.
And then they had the main court and they had the B court.
Oh yeah.
And anybody that grew up in that era knew, like, you always wanted to be on the main court.
Absolutely.
And then when you got to that main court, it was like,
you need to stay on the main court.
Yes. So you got to figure out your way how to stay on that main court. So you understand how to play defense. What's a good shot?
Right. Not waste a possession.
Yes. Don't over dribble. You're learning that at a young age just by playing on the court with grown men. These kids don't play in the park anymore.
That's true.
They don't do any of that.
Now, where do you think that dynamic changed? Like, why did it change, and when did that change?
The money.
Okay.
The money changed everything with basketball. In my opinion, when the sneaker companies, and I love them because I'm part
Right.
of that.
Shouts to them.
Yeah, I'm part, like I ain't throwing no shade.
Right.
I'm part of that mix too,
Yes, sir. Yes,
of
sir.
being around the sneaker companies. I coach with them. I always will coach with sneaker companies. But when they started doing the AAU tournaments,
Oh, yes.
and it started to become big business for high school sports, that eliminated people playing in the park. People
Right.
don't want to get a high school kid nowadays doesn't think about playing in the park the same as we did.
Right.
We thought of it as a rite of passage, playing with grown men
Absolutely.
in the park,
Absolutely.
getting bumped around, going home and having, scrapes on my knees and scrapes on my elbows. And,
Badge of honor.
yeah, you go home, you have bloody lip because, you got smacked in the face. And it's like, all right, these kids look at playing in the park on that concrete and they're like, Coach, I'm going to mess up my knees. Coach, I'm going to fall. Coach, this is going to happen. Coach, I can't play in the park. It's too hot outside. Like, I've had parents tell me that, what do you mean practice in the park? It's hot outside.
Wow.
Like they're gonna have a heat stroke and die. And I'm like, did you play in the park? And they're like, yeah. So then what happened?
What's the difference?
Like, what changed?
Has the sun gotten any hotter?
I want to be like, it must be just global warming. Don't worry
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
It's that
It's
global warming.
it's the coddling, man. But I agree with you. I
Yeah.
think the AAU circuit has really changed youth athletics. Obviously, now there's some positives. Obviously, there's always going to be some
course.
positive, but there's also going to be some downsides, some negative stuff. So, I completely agree with you. I think I don't know if it'll ever get back to there. I think we're just in
Nah,
another
it's-
phase of just how development in sports are, and that's just where it's gonna stay.
No, it's
Yeah.
it's playing in the park days are done.
Right.
It's more about now. It's more about training,
Yeah,
and besides the training, it's about playing in AAU tournaments,
right.
and they're playing all over the world, and
Right.
everybody has an AAU team now.
Yeah, everybody.
When I was younger, there was 6 AAU teams, I think,
Right.
that traveled. Like you had the Broncos, you
Yeah.
had the Gauchos,
Right.
you had Riverside,
Right.
and I'm forgetting a couple. And then you had the Panthers. You know,
Right.
I was lucky; I played with Gary and the Panthers.
Right.
But those were the only teams that traveled.
Right.
Like everybody else was local. Like you going around your neighborhood.
Right.
Like you're not going anywhere.
And back then, if you were affiliated with any of those AAU teams, like you had any of those shorts, especially if you had a pair of Gaucho shorts, they knew that you was legit.
Yes.
Right? You seen a pair of Gaucho shorts or somebody with a jersey. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I know where you at. Right?
Yeah, before if you had Gauchos or Riverside shorts, before you even took a layup,
Right.
you walked in the park, people were picking you up.
Facts.
Yeah,
Got
he can
him.
play with us.
Got
Yeah,
him.
He's
Yep.
with us.
Or
He's with
had
us.
had the Gauchos with the Team Adidas sneakers on them. Want him? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's my first pick.
he never even took a layup.
Right.
Yo,
Right.
nah, he with us. He
Yep,
with us.
I'm telling you, man.
Yeah,
it was different,
a
but
different lineup.
yeah,
And
it's just
now it's more like everybody wants to train, and they
Yeah.
go to their specialist trainer, and they
Right.
got 6 different trainers. Like they'll have one trainer that does ball handling, they have one shooting coach, and then they got a speed and agility trainer. And parents are just shelling out all this money
It's
because
amazing.
like,
that's what they think it is. Yeah.
but the light at the end of the tunnel is ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
if you sign just the regular contract, you get one contract, $20 million. You
I
set
mean,
for life.
and we're talking about, we're not even talking about NIL deals now. Where
No.
kids can be able to get NIL deals very early. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
You get an NIL deal in high school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you could legit have an NIL deal in high school.
Right.
People don't understand, like, the game has changed, and if you can market yourself, I tell all these kids now that I coach and that I train, is if you could just carry yourself a certain way and you market yourself a certain way, and your social media platform is built around you as an athlete, a student athlete. Let's keep that
Yep, 100%.
keep that 100% right. A student athlete. You're not a pro. You're a student athlete. Till you get money for this, even NIL deals, you're not a pro. You're a student athlete. Market yourself as a student athlete, you're going to get paid.
Right.
Because you could get one of these local mom and pop shops to give you $50,000. And
Right.
that $50,000 is a lot more than some people make in
In a
years.
year.
In a
Right.
year.
Right.
And you get that, and you get a couple of those different people to give you money just to represent their brand and represent their product, and then you're off and running. And you don't have to be a big time player. You just have to have a platform that
Absolutely.
reaches.
Right.
Like you could be, a Division 0 kid, like, and have a platform that reaches multiple people and make money now.
Influences everything.
Yes.
Well,
it
you know
really
what? Like,
is.
with that being said, like, it's got to be hard to keep these kids focused nowadays, because you're still gonna have your kids who want to get in trouble and want to still be kids. So like, how hard is it to keep the kids focused?
Honestly, that's the biggest challenge that you have as a coach is, from what I see now, more or less, there's two different things that you have to do. You have to really, at Knox, I'm super selective of the kids I bring in. Like, we're a private school. I vet all my kids and I make them go through my workouts. Before they even step foot on my team, they come and they'll work out with me. And some kids will work out with me for a year before they come on the team.
Right.
Like, they'll come and they'll work out the whole year, and their parents will sit there and they will hear, the vitriol that I spill out. Like, practice is brutal. And you got to make sure that you keep their focus by keeping them level-headed and grounded and telling them the truth. Most people, and coaching nowadays is more coddling than ever. They don't tell these kids the truth. They tell them what they want to hear because they're scared to coach the kid, because the kid will go to another team.
Absolutely. Hold that thought. We definitely want to get more into that and also get into NA2 Athletics as well
Definitely.
after the break.
Yo, it's your man DJ G Money from that Flip the Script podcast. You see it? We in the studio right now. Flip, shut up. Yeah. Whoa, listen. Shout out to the All Even podcast. My man Barry Grant Jr. What's up, man? What happened? What you want to say to the people?
Shout out somebody else's podcast?
Yeah, my man get the joint. What's up?
All Even.
All Even podcast.
Yo, it ain't even up here, boy. We put this, yo, something, All Even. Yo, oh my God. What's up with you, man? Now that's a shout out. You keeping this?
Yeah, keep all that. You want to jump
All
in the
Even
camera?
podcast, right?
Yeah, All
Shout out
Even.
to All Even podcast, right? All
Yeah.
Even. That's your man?
My man.
All right, shout out to All Even podcast.
100%. He cool. Is he cool? Let me see. Is he cool?
G. What is it, G? Oh. Shout out, G.
Oh. He cool, man.
So we were talking to Varro Allen here, talking about the kids. But I want to talk about NA2 Athletics. How did that start? That was 2013 and 2014.
2013, I
Okay.
started that company. It honestly, it started because of the kids.
Okay.
Like, I used to train with Jerry Powell at Basketball Results. I worked
Shout
with
out to
Jerry for 7 years. Shout out to Ice. He was one of the most influential people in my coaching and everything that I do.
Dope.
And I would not be who I am without Jerry. I
Sure.
always say things like that because I want to give people homage while they're still breathing.
Of course.
I don't want to not, give people homage. But it started working out with the kids. Like, I was working out with the kids, and like a bunch of the parents was like, yo, I'm still training. And they were like, you should start your own company. Like, you should start training. I didn't want to do it, but they were like, you should do it. And I was like, all right. So then I was trying to play on different words of like how to do the company and everything else. Yeah. And then, my name is Navro Allen, NA.
Right.
And I was like, well, I'm never going to have a son named Navro. So I was like, NA2.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, there you go. And then
it's a catchy name.
Yeah. But then, like, talking with all the parents and everything else, one parent, came over to me and was like, she goes, the way you train is like an art form. It's like an art. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then she was like, yeah, it's like natural art. And I was like, And when she said it, I said, that is dope. And then I was like, NA2, the natural art to athletics.
That's dope.
And I was like, that is super catchy. And I was like, I'm going to keep it.
Did you give her any pub for that?
I will never give her pub.
All the way real.
Thank you for the inspiration.
Right.
You get none of my.
No. If I ever give her pub, she would get mad about it because she's like
She humble like that. I respect it.
she doesn't want to be in the spotlight or nothing like that. I've asked her like anytime I go on any type of podcast, I'm like, yo, do you want me to shout you out? And she's like, no, don't do it.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't want any publicity. Like, I don't want anybody knowing. Like,
That's
we're
what's up,
fine.
though. I
So I'm
respect
like,
that. I respect
all right,
that.
whatever. But no, so that's where everything comes from.
Okay.
And then from there, I started a nonprofit called ACES. And ACES is, Athletic Committed Enlightened Scholars.
Awesome.
And it deals with mental health issues with sports, academic or educational assistance, and social issues.
Wow.
So like we deal with everything. Like I cover the whole, from soup to nuts with sports. I'll deal with you on the court with your training and stuff like that, and I'll deal with you off the court with just your mental health. And everything.
But that's super important though, because a lot of people don't realize that just because a kid can be super talented, have all the metrics, the physicals. If they're not right up here, there's something going on at home that you can be able to help and kind of fix that. It's going to improve him on the court as well as, his entire life, right? So shouts to you to be able to recognize that, because a lot of people don't really care about what's going on with a kid's mental. They only care about what they see that they can be able to do, the 40, the vertical, the jump shot, whatever it is. The mental part of the game is the most important part of sports. And if that's not right, it don't matter.
People don't even understand what you just said is so powerful. People don't understand how hard it is and how much stress they put on these kids nowadays.
Yeah.
These kids are 13, 14, 15 years old, and they're basically on display every weekend at that age.
It's amazing.
And it's like, I'm on display for the world to see. And now with social media going viral, if you, that head tap stuff and, somebody crossed you over and you fall, and you could be a TikTok
right.
or a meme for
forever,
the rest of your life.
Right.
And people don't understand what goes on with these kids.
Yeah.
And parents nowadays, parents are worse than ever. Like I said, the AAU has done a lot of amazing things, but has also done a lot of things that I think are detrimental to these kids.
100%.
It's like, I still will coach AAU and I love it and I will always admire what it does, but that's why I also did that ACES thing where I could talk to these kids and talk to them about what happens if their parent is unbearable. Like, I have a son.
Yeah.
My son Donovan, there's times where I'm unbearable on
Right.
Donovan. Like, and it's clear. Like, I know that I'm getting to that point where it's like, okay, I got to back up. I'm going a little bit too far. And then he has outlets to talk to. He has his mother. He has his Uncle Corey. He has his, he has his grandmother. He has, different people that he could reach out to and talk to and tell them like, hey,
healthy
this
outlets.
is what's going on.
Yeah,
and
healthy outlets.
And then he also has things where it's like, we're not talking about sports.
Right.
We're going to talk about academics. We're going to talk about education. We're going to talk about life. And he wants to be a lawyer. He'll go to my daytime job is I work for a law firm.
Awesome.
And he goes to the law firm and he'll talk to lawyers and just see how their day goes and see what goes on. And stuff like that is what these kids need too. Because everybody's not going to be LeBron James.
No.
LeBron James is one of the greatest basketball players to ever live. And everybody thinks their kid is going to be the next LeBron, the next Kobe, the next Steph Curry. They do not understand the work that comes in. They do not understand the God-given talent that comes in. So
and they do not understand the percentage of athletes that actually make it to the NBA.
Yes.
It's less than 1%.
Yes.
It's nuts.
And you're talking about billions and billions of people that play basketball.
Right.
You have a better chance of being a lawyer. You have a better chance of being a doctor. You have a better chance of being a neuroscientist.
Right.
or being somebody that works on Wall Street than being an NBA player. So why not teach these kids to use this sport for what it's worth? Meaning, I get my education, I could market myself,
Right.
I could strengthen myself, and now when I'm done playing sports, it's okay if I didn't make it to the NBA.
Right.
I still gave it everything I got, and I could go into this field and now give this field everything I got, and I had a head start.
And what you're saying right there is so paramount, because I always like to say that these kids are not told that they've won enough. Like when you get that scholarship and that's a free ride and your parents don't have to pay a dime out of their pocket to send you to Georgia Tech or wherever it is, you've won. Like there's not enough kids that realize that, because they think that just because they didn't make it to the league or they didn't get a G League invite or a summer league, whatever it is, they think that life is over. No, your life has just started. You won. You have done more than a lot of people in life already. So you got to be saluted for that. You have to think about the bigger picture.
I'll go one step further than that. If you play basketball in college, whether you play junior college, NAIA, Division I, Division II, or Division III, if you play basketball in college, period, you have won. You have won, because there is a billion people that will not get that opportunity.
Absolutely.
So you gotta sit back and you gotta think and be like, wow, what did I just accomplish? And now with the way that this college stuff works, it's way harder to get a Division I scholarship now than it's gonna be ever before.
Right.
Like with the portal, the transfer portal, and the new rule that NCAA worked out to protect these freshmen that are coming into college with the portal and with what's going on in the portal, it's going to be impossible to get a scholarship.
It's crazy.
They better hope that the NBA does what I think it should do is
and lower the age again.
Lower the age again, have the kids go to the G League.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, yo, listen, lower the age, have the kids go to the G League. It will be just like baseball.
Yeah, create a farm system.
Like, just like baseball.
Absolutely.
Like, here, you're going to go to the G League.
Right.
And there you go.
Right.
Because if they do that, then it will get rid of that transfer portal a lot. And
absolutely.
It will open up spots for kids that really
I agree.
Go to
I agree 100%. I think that, I've been saying that for years, that the NBA needs to kind of revamp what the G League is supposed to be and take what baseball does and say, listen, we'll take kids from high school, we'll take kids from international and build them up, but they're not going to be ready to be in the NBA until we've deemed that they're physically ready or they've met certain benchmarks to be able to be promoted to the big club, right? So that's something that they might need to look at, but we'll see. We'll see if that happens.
I mean, the biggest thing is they're gonna have to get those games on TV.
Yeah,
if
of
they
course.
If they can start getting those games on TV, where those games, but the problem is gonna be the TV networks are all NCAA TV networks. They don't want to compete.
Exactly.
I invested $7 billion into the NCAA.
I'm not gonna spend another $7 billion
on the G League.
Yeah,
I'm not doing that.
Right.
So it's a little bit of a catch-22.
Yeah.
If they could figure out a way to get these G League games on national TV, you could actually have something where
I agree with you.
You're doing something.
That's a great point.
But I would maybe what they need to do is do the G League in the NBA all season.
Maybe.
Like after the NCAA is start the G League then.
Right.
And then these kids, because then that would get rid of the transfer portal too.
Right.
You started it in May and it went May to October. There you go. There goes the whole G League season.
Yeah, facts.
It'd be better.
So
if they, by the way, if they do take that idea, we should get a cut of that money.
We need that pub.
We need that money.
We need that pub. Like, listen, like we just came up with like 10 years worth of progress for the NBA. They need to listen, right? That's facts. That's big facts.
Hire us as consultants.
Facts. You know what I mean? And I cost like a fifth less. You know what I mean? Of what they paying these real people.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. So, how did you end up at the Knox School? Because I know, I watched a pod that you were on, and you said that how you reached out to the Knox School to be able to kind of rent their facility, right, for the training. And conversations happened, lightning struck, and
It was
boom.
it was like, I'm being honest with you, it was really like lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
It happened in 5 days. I was at Five Towns College coaching girls, and I loved Five Towns. I loved coaching the girls. We did really well.
Yeah.
But I was like, all right, I'm gonna stop coaching girls. I'm gonna just focus on my son was playing.
Right.
So like, I'm gonna focus on my training. I'm gonna coach my son, and I'm gonna coach him in the summertime. So my friend Mark was coaching girls at the Knox School, and he was like, "Oh, you should call the Knox School to rent out the gym." So I called the athletic director. I was like, "Hey, Liam, I want to rent your gym." And he was like, "You just want to rent the gym?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "I read your background," and he was like, "We're looking for a basketball coach. Would you be interested?" And I was like,
Wow.
"Yeah." And he was like, "All right, can you come in tomorrow and interview?"
Wow.
And I said, "Sure." And then I came in the next day to interview. And then he was like, "Well, I told the headmaster that I would see whoever coach." And I was like, "Well, I have travel basketball practice for at the time, I think it was like 10-year-olds or 11-year-olds. It had to be 11 because my son is 14. So 11-year-olds. I was like, "Come down and play. I mean, come down and watch." And he came to practice, and right after practice, he called me up and was like, "I want you. You're my guy."
Mm.
And I was like, "Okay." And ever since I've been there, the Knox School has been home. I've coached a lot of places, and since I've been there's been 3 places that I've actually truly felt like home. Bayshore was number 1. I loved coaching at Bayshore. Loved it. I never wanted to leave Bayshore. The Metro Hawks was number 2. That was the start of me coaching travel AAU,
Right.
coaching on the Nike EYBL circuit,
Yeah.
and getting really good at this thing called
Getting your
coaching.
reps. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
really learning how to coach.
Right.
And then now at Knox is like home. And those kids, the first year kids, Dame, Max, Rob, all those kids are embedded in my heart because they may not have been the most talented kids. They gave me everything they got.
They worked hard. Yeah.
And they went from a team that was picked dead last in their conference to going 500.
Wow.
And people were like, "What happened?" Like, they were like, when I first got the job, they were like, "Oh, we'll be happy if you win a couple games." I'm like, "Win a couple games?
I'm coming here to win.
Yeah, I don't lose." I'm
Yeah.
like, I feel like Dion. Like, I'm like, "Yo,
We coming."
Yeah, I'm not coming here to lose. Like, what are you talking about? Win a couple games.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess the school also didn't know who they hired. And
Right.
like, I'm a Leo. I have a little bit of an ego. And I mean, all my coaching friends will be like, "Nah, he has big ego." But I do a lot of work, and I put a lot of work into my kids and to what we do and to the practice and everything. So we're not losing. And I'm like, "You're going to beat us. We're not going to lose."
Right.
So we came and we fought and we
That's
got
what's
better.
up.
And
That's what's up,
I'm
man.
so happy I'm there.
So I obviously, we're heading into a new season.
Yeah.
I think you have 6 players returning, right?
No, we have 1 player
One
returning,
player?
and we have 6 new kids
Okay.
on our team, brand new to the school, that are dynamic. And this team right here has a chance to be really special.
Really?
Like, from top to bottom, they have the second most team talent that I've ever coached.
Wow.
Besides my Bayshore kids.
Wow.
My Bayshore kids will always have the most talent. They had 9 Division I basketball players on a public school roster. It's insane what happened over that 4-year time period. It will never be duplicated, I don't think, in Long Island.
Yeah.
It will never be duplicated. This team rivals them. They compete every day. We're in our start of our season, and I feel like we're in mid-season form right now. They compete every day in practice, and they want to be good. They want to be great.
They want to be coached.
Yes.
Yeah.
Their parents are parents that get it. They understand. They're like, "Oh no, we're with somebody that understands and wants the best for each of our kids." So they sit back and they're like, "No, Coach,
You handle it, yeah.
You handle it. Don't worry about it. And the kids are all like buying into the system and understanding like we've all scored 20 points on our individual teams. Now we're coming together and it's like a dream team. Like, okay,
You got to see how you fit in. You got to sacrifice.
yes. And they're understanding like, okay, I tell them this all the time. Today may not be your day. Tomorrow may be your day.
Right.
And the proof is like we've had in 2 All-Star games for Long Island, the 2 biggest All-Star games in Long Island, the All-Timers game and the MAC game. My boy Drew runs the MAC and Gordon runs All-Timers. My kid Reggie Pierre was the MVP of the All-Timers game. My other kid KJ Anderson was the MVP of the MAC game.
Wow.
And it's like all these kids understand like different moments is going to be our time. And we play in the Crunch Time League, and every game has been a different MVP. It's not been the same MVP one game.
That's good.
So it's like, I'm happy. I'm really happy with these kids and their progress.
Nah, salute to you, man. Salute to you. It's a testament to you and your knowledge and your coaching of how you can be able to get kids to buy into a system, because it's not easy, right? You know, especially when you have kids that are super talented, right? And they've been told a certain thing their entire life so far, right? That they're great, they're superstars of this, and then you come in, you tell them, you may be good, but you have to learn how to be good here. There's a difference between putting up 25 points on a team that's not going anywhere. There's a difference between putting up a solid 12 points and contributing to a winning culture. That's what I need from you. You know what I'm saying? And that, once a kid realizes that, there's no telling where they can be able to go in their life, because they can be able to incorporate themselves and engulf themselves in a team setting, no matter what it is, and they can be able to excel, right?
Yes.
So that's the most important thing that you're telling these kids. So salute to you for that, definitely.
Yeah, that it, like you said, it all transfers over to life.
Yeah.
You could literally run this same drill and be successful in anything.
Right.
You're gonna be part of a project, and here I'm the same centerpiece.
Right.
Or I'm not the centerpiece.
Right.
This person's the centerpiece.
Right.
But I'm still a contributor.
Absolutely.
And that's how you have to feel.
Nah. You doing the Lord's work, man. Shouts to you. It's my man right here. I like him, Claude. I ain't gonna lie to you. We gonna have to pull up to the Knox School and turn up. We have to turn up over there, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Anytime y'all want to come through, please come through. I tell everybody, I want everybody at our games.
Yeah.
I want our games to be packed out.
You don't want Fang at your games because he's crazy.
Listen, have him there. My mom is crazy too. Shout out to Mama D. My mom will be right crazy with him.
That's what's up.
She gonna be the one screaming at the ref.
Yeah, I hear that.
And as soon as somebody catch a dunk, she gonna be jumping out her seat. One kid's gonna catch a dunk and she gonna go crazy.
Yeah. Nah, that's dope, man. Shouts to my man Navro Allen. Telling you a great story. You were inspiration for these kids. Keep doing it, man. Definitely, like I said, I'm so serious. We gonna take this on the road. I want to do a vlog, put it together, man. We're gonna do it nice. And get the All Even podcast up there. And I definitely want to see you in your element. You know what I mean?
Can't wait.
Yeah.
I definitely can't wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be dope. That's gonna be dope.